that's the way I kind of look at it. I mean, we need to say how much building do we want? And if you go back to the building cap, I think, as I understand it, I wasn't a year-round resident then, but the building cap ended because of it had like a term limit, so it had a period that expired. And as I understand it, yes, it was defeated when it came back again, but it wasn't an overwhelming defeat. So I think there is sympathy for that kind of a limitation. So is it a building cap? Is it by regulating sewers and septic tanks is another way to go at it. There are numerous ways, but I think the first thing is to have a public discussion, and I think that comes through talking about the master plan. I think what you're going to see in the master plan is it's all going to get written, and it's going to come up at a town meeting, and with the expectation that everybody's going to vote for it. And I think, like so many other things that we see that come out of the plan, and that's another reason that I'm running for the planning board. The planning board has a lot of zoning articles on, at every town meeting coming up. The issue is, for me, part is why I want to run for the planning board, is that they don't take the time to explain what it is that they want to do to the public. They have public education, or education of the public in terms of what they want to get done. It just isn't part of their vernacular, and I think that's wrong. You should be interacting with the public.
How should they do that? Well,
I think
examples.
I think the example would be, they should be publishing, the town warrant gets published, they should be publishing an explanation of every single article that they're putting, that's going to come up at the town meeting, and exactly why. Give me an example. There's one now about increasing some part of the open space by 2.5% in certain areas. Well, the immediate question is, well, okay, it sounds kind of benign, but there's got to be a reason why this is being done. And I think if you don't explain it, then it leads to suspicion.
Right.
And the suspicion is, well, somebody's getting something out of this. And I think that could all be eliminated if they would just do a better job of explaining what it is that why they think they need to have a change in zoning article or some procedure or practice that they've been following.
Are you familiar with many of the members on the board?
Well, I'm now an alternate. Just
Okay.
appointed. I was just appointed because of Joe's resignation, and so David Callahan was appointed to take his position until the election, and then I was appointed by the Board of Selectmen to fill the alternate seat.
I
so
see.
I've gotten to know, some of the people on the board last year.
Do you feel
I ran last year.
Yep.
And I will, Linda is one of the people who's very vocal. I'm running against her because I don't think she should be on the planning board.
Yeah.
And it's not only, there are other issues too. There are certain conflicts of interest that I think are present.
Linda's always been, it's my way or the highway kind of, right?
Yeah.
That's Linda. But I asked her about that, and she said she's learning to, take it a little slower and a little more, but it's not slow enough for you, obviously. That's why you...
No, when I see agendas, and it was the same way on the zoning board, when agendas seem to be run just to get through the agenda and at the expense of people being able to talk and explain their position, I don't think that's the way you run a meeting.
Okay. Now, back to being a member of the board.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do these things. Do you think that if you're a member of the board, that you can influence other people to come around to your way of thinking?
Well, I think so, and also recognize that this is a unique opportunity this year because in most cases you have a 5-member board and you have one person running in a given year for a 5-year term. So change is very slow at that pace, 1 a year. So if you need 3 or 4 people to really have change, then it's going to take a number of years of people who are successful in running. This year is unique because of Joe's resignation, there are 2 seats up. And so and Judith Wagner, I don't know if you've spoken to her, the candidate that's running against David. She's extremely well qualified, a lot of experience in zoning, lots of experience in municipal government. I think she'd be excellent to be on the board. So if you could get 2 of us on the board, then now you've got 2 voices out of 5, and I think that there are people, 1 or 2 people on the board who I think would listen to our message, and perhaps we might be able to move faster than we would otherwise see transition occurring. But again, I think it's being able to speak up and have a platform to speak, even as an alternate. I don't have a platform because I'm not entitled to speak on a lot of issues, and so I think it's important. Get up and speak, and I think if we speak enough, and if I were a member of the planning board and I show the public that we're interested in being more consumer friendly in terms of the voters and the things, I think that's going to resonate, and I think you will see change. I believe that Richmond Square is a watershed.
Richmond development?
I'm not a Richmond Square. I'm thinking about something in Providence, but Richmond development, yes. The Richmond development is a watershed. I think when people really see what happens out there, and I think they're seeing it right now with just no trees, when the traffic becomes what it will be when we're now putting in rotaries because we need to handle the additional traffic, I think people are going to say enough's enough. And so I think the pendulum is starting to shift.
You think that's the
I think it's out
right
there. I think it's out there.
Point at that, and that's your example.
Yes.
Look at that. And that was bad planning.
And that was bad planning, I think.
What about affordable housing, though?
Affordable housing, no, I'm in favor. Well, I mean, affordable housing it has to be, because the state, sets criteria, and affordable housing, regardless of how you define affordable, is an issue for Nantucket. It's the real estate's expensive, the land's expensive, so it costs money to build and buy a house here. And we do have to meet those mandates. I'm not in favor of large-scale developments to do it. So, again, the Richmond development, yes, it accomplished the purpose of having a lot of units put up to satisfy our obligation to the state in terms of the 10% limit, but that isn't the way that it should have been done. Through the master plan and the planning board and the economic development commission, they should have seen where we needed to be, and there should be a plan devised to say, how are we going to do this, rather than being simply reactive to a very large developer who came in and it is what it is. Now, they'll say, there wasn't anything we can do about it. Now, if you anticipate things, then there are things you can do about it. And I think that we'll see what happens with the Surfside development.
Right.
That's another big one. And we'll just see what happens. I mean, I think we need to discourage large-scale projects like that, whether it's affordable housing or any other kind of housing. So, that's why I'm running. A lot of reasons.
Yeah. Have you run before?
I ran last year.
Have you been on any other? Have you ever run and won and done a?
2 years ago, I ran for the Shellfish for Shab.
Okay.
So I'm on Shab.
Okay.
That wasn't a contested election.
Okay.
So the only contested election I had was last year against Nat. He's a very strong candidate, and I learned a lot.
Yep.
And I hope this year I'll be more successful.
Okay. What are some of your interpersonal skills?
What can I bring to the board in terms of experience?
Yeah, exactly.
I think in a nutshell, 39 years of private practice as a lawyer. I wasn't primarily a real estate lawyer, I wouldn't say that, but through 39 years of practice, I certainly got into zoning matters. I represented for a number of years an industrial development corporation, which was a public entity. So I'm familiar with public process. I'm familiar with open meeting kinds of things. I'm familiar with how to run a meeting, and just the training of 39 years of being a lawyer for 39 years.
And what kind of law did you do?
I was a corporate lawyer
In Providence?
In Providence,
Yeah.
and then the firm, I'm licensed both in Rhode Island and Massachusetts because the firm grew, and then we had a Boston office, and so I've practiced in Massachusetts. And so I think, I think Linda would say, oh, this is all about experience. I don't think it's all about experience. I think you learn. Sure, experience helps, and she has a lot of knowledge, but I think I can get up to speed pretty quickly. By a lawyer, what you do is you study things, and so I've spent quite a bit of time already studying the zoning ordinance, reading things, reading the master plan. I mean, that's what I do. So I think I'll be prepared.
Are you retired now?
Yes, I retired 4 years ago.
So you've got the time.
So I've got the time.
You're on Shab, and then you could do this.
Yes, yeah. Shab is not a big time consumer.
Right.
I'm on a couple of. I'm on the Egan Foundation.
Oh yeah.
President of Egan Foundation.
Oh, yeah,
That'll
great.
be up probably in another year. So this kind of coincides with some other things.
Are you guys moving into that where the Island Variety building is? Is that correct?
Yes, we own that building.
You own that, right?
Yes, we own that building, and Marine Home Center owns the building we're in now.
Right.
And they needed the space, so it just worked out that we're going to move into our own space.
That's great.
And be there. So I've been involved, since I came to Nantucket, I've been involved in some nonprofits, some public boards, and this planning board would be a big time commitment. But
How much time do you think you have to spend per week working on the planning board? Would you say?
probably a lot more than I would say, but I think, just to read and prepare for each meeting is several hours, because you're reading through all the applications, and that type of thing, and then there are special meetings.
Yeah.
And then by virtue of being on the planning board, you're also have an economic development meetings, which is another one once a month.
Yeah.
I've seen so far that certainly this isn't a one a month process in terms of meetings. There have been two or three additional meetings. There's one later on this week. So there are numerous meetings. It's time consuming. I've got the time. Mm-hmm. There are no conflicts of interest. I don't, I'm not being paid by anybody. I'm not earning my living trying to do this. I'm retired.
Yep.
And I think I can add a lot to the planning board, and I think I can, I love this community, and I want to see it move in the right direction.
Is there, I always like to give you a chance to speak directly to the voter if you want to say anything. I think you'd pretty much put it down.
Yeah, no. I think I've said I'm also going to be at the next Saturday at the open. I'm trying to remember who runs it, but
The Civic League? Or
the Civic League,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. So I'll be at the Civic League. We'll be talking. There'll be specific questions that are asked. I've kind of got to look very seriously about things about downtown development and parking garage and a lot of issues that I've got more time than, I mean,
I
not
understand.
to say that, you know, we don't have enough time here, but maybe some of those questions will come up. But it's all about, you know, I've been here for over 50 years. I love the island. I'm raise my children here in the summertime, my grandchildren. We love the place. And that's why I live here. I have one house, right? That one right there. And I'm here for the duration.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fritz. Very nice to meet you.
Yes. And for all of you out there, I hope you'll vote for me.
That's it. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.